The stage was set for what seemed like a typical episode of The Kelly Clarkson Show, with its warm, inviting atmosphere and Kelly's signature charm. Fans tuned in, expecting the usual mix of heartfelt interviews, musical performances, and light-hearted banter. On this particular day, the guest was Teddy Swims, the soulful singer-songwriter whose rise to fame had been meteoric, thanks to his viral YouTube covers and the chart-topping hit Lose Control. Teddy, born Colin Dimsdale, had previously appeared on the show, delivering a powerful duet with Kelly that left audiences buzzing about their chemistry. The anticipation was high for another memorable moment, as Teddy's raw vocal talent and relatable personality made him a fan favorite. Kelly, a three-time Grammy winner, has a knack for creating a welcoming environment, often diving into deep conversations with her guests about their lives and music. The episode began with the usual fanfare, Kelly's infectious energy, the audience's cheers, and a brief introduction of Teddy's journey from a small-town Georgia kid to a global music sensation. As Teddy walked out, the crowd erupted, and he flashed his signature grin, his long hair and tattoos adding to his distinctive vibe. The interview kicked off with Kelly praising Teddy's recent Grammy nomination for Best New Artist and his ability to blend soul, pop, and country into a genre-defying sound. They laughed about his viral cover of Shania Twain's You're Still the One, which had garnered over 167 million views, and Teddy shared a story about his high school musical theater days, where he first discovered his love for performing. The mood was light, and the chemistry between the two seemed as strong as ever, with Kelly playfully teasing Teddy about his newfound fame. But as the conversation shifted to more personal topics, a subtle tension began to emerge, unnoticed by the audience at first. Kelly, known for her candid interviewing style, asked Teddy about the inspiration behind Lose Control, a song about the emotional turmoil of a toxic relationship. Teddy's response was heartfelt but guarded, hinting at personal struggles without diving too deep. Kelly, perhaps sensing an opportunity to connect with her guest, pressed it further, asking about the challenges of navigating fame while maintaining personal relationships. Her question was innocent enough, but Teddy's demeanor shifted slightly as his smile faded, and his answers grew shorter. The audience, still caught up in the excitement, didn't immediately pick up on the change, but those watching closely could sense something was off. Kelly, ever the professional, tried to steer the conversation back to music, but the spark that had defined their earlier interactions seemed to dim. It was a moment that would soon spiral into something no one could have predicted, setting the stage for a dramatic turn of events that would leave viewers stunned. As the interview progressed, the conversation took an unexpected turn into more sensitive territory. Kelly, drawing from her own experiences in the music industry, asked Teddy about the pressures of sudden fame and how he coped with the mental health challenges that come with it. Teddy had previously spoken openly about his desire to seek therapy, a topic he touched on during a 2023 appearance on the show. This time, however, his response was less forthcoming. He acknowledged the difficulties of being in the spotlight but seemed hesitant to elaborate, perhaps wary of exposing too much on live television. Kelly, sensing his reluctance, shared a personal anecdote about her own struggles with fame, hoping to create a safe space for Teddy to open up. Her intention was to foster a meaningful dialogue, but her probing questions about his personal life, specifically his recent transition into fatherhood and how it affected his career, seemed to strike a nerve. Teddy, who had shared a touching Instagram story about his newborn son just days before, was protective of his family's privacy. The audience could feel the shift as Teddy's responses became clipped, his body language tense. Kelly, unaware of the boundary she was crossing, continued to push, asking about the balance between his tour schedule and his new responsibilities as a father. The question was meant to be empathetic, but it landed awkwardly, and Teddy's discomfort was palpable. He shifted in his seat, his hands fidgeting, and his usually warm demeanor gave way to a guarded expression. The audience, still engaged, began to murmur, sensing the unease. Kelly, trying to lighten the mood, made a playful comment about Teddy's Bucky's Onassi story, referencing the moment he and his partner learned of their pregnancy. The crowd laughed, but Teddy's smile was strained, and he offered a curt nod in response. It was clear that the conversation was veering into territory Teddy wasn't prepared to discuss on air. The tension was subtle at first, but it was building, like a storm gathering on the horizon. Kelly, perhaps misreading the situation, doubled down, asking Teddy how he managed the stress of public scrutiny while protecting his family. The question was well-intentioned, but for Teddy, it felt like an invasion, a spotlight on a part of his life he wasn't ready to share with the world. The exchange marked the turning point, setting the stage for the heated moment that would soon unfold. The atmosphere in the studio grew increasingly charged as the interview continued. Teddy, usually so charismatic and open, began to withdraw, his answers growing shorter and his tone sharper. Kelly, known for her ability to connect with guests, seemed caught off guard by his change in demeanor. She tried to pivot, asking about his upcoming performance on the Song Stories special, set to air on September 2nd, where he would join her for an in-depth conversation and an intimate musical performance. The mention of their previous duet of Lose Control in 2023, which had been a highlight for fans, briefly lightened the mood. Teddy nodded, acknowledging the performance, but his enthusiasm was noticeably subdued. The audience, still hopeful for a return to the earlier warmth, clapped politely, but the energy in the room felt strained. Kelly, perhaps sensing the need to regain momentum, shifted to a lighter topic, asking Teddy about his recent tour and his experience performing in his hometown of Atlanta. Teddy's response was polite but lacked the spark he usually brought to such discussions. He mentioned his excitement about the tour but avoided delving into personal details, steering the conversation back to his music. Kelly, trying to keep the interview engaging, made a comment about the emotional weight of his songs, suggesting that his vulnerability was what made him so relatable to fans. The remark, meant as a compliment, seemed to hit a sore spot. Teddy's expression hardened, and he responded with a terse comment about how vulnerability didn't mean he wanted to bare his soul on every platform. The audience fell silent, sensing the shift from friendly banter to something more confrontational. Kelly, caught off guard, laughed nervously, trying to defuse the situation with her trademark humor. But Teddy wasn't having it. He leaned forward, his voice low but firm, and said, "I'm here to talk about my music, not my personal life." The statement hung in the air, heavy and unexpected. The audience gasped softly, and Kelly's smile faltered. For a moment, it seemed like she might recover the conversation. But Teddy's frustration was evident. He wasn't just setting a boundary, he was drawing a line in the sand. The exchange, though brief, was intense, and it marked the moment when the interview took a dramatic turn, leaving everyone in the studio and at home on edge. The tension in the studio reached a boiling point as the exchange between Kelly and Teddy escalated. Kelly, visibly surprised by Teddy's sharp response, tried to regain control of the interview. She apologized, saying she hadn't meant to overstep, and attempted to steer the conversation back to safer ground by asking about his Grammy nomination and what it meant to him. But Teddy, clearly rattled, wasn't ready to move on. His frustration spilled over, and he spoke candidly about the pressure of being expected to share every detail of his life just because he was in the public eye. "I love my fans, and I'm grateful," he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "But I don't owe anyone my private moments." The audience was stunned into silence, the weight of his words sinking in. Kelly, a seasoned host, nodded empathetically, acknowledging his need for boundaries. But the damage was done. The easy rapport they'd shared in past appearances was gone, replaced by an uncomfortable standoff. Kelly tried to lighten the mood with a joke about her own struggles with oversharing, but Teddy's expression remained stern. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, and it was clear he was no longer fully engaged. The audience, sensing the gravity of the moment, shifted uneasily in their seats. Kelly, ever the professional, pushed forward, introducing a clip of Teddy's recent Atlanta performance to transition to a commercial break. As the clip played, Teddy sat silently, his jaw tight. Off camera, during the break, sources later reported that Teddy expressed his frustration to the show's producers, feeling that the interview had crossed a line into his personal life. When the cameras rolled again, Kelly returned with her usual warmth, but Teddy's demeanor had changed completely. He answered questions with minimal effort, his responses curt and devoid of his usual charm. The audience, now fully aware of the tension, watched with bated breath, wondering if the interview could recover. Kelly, sensing the need to wrap things up, thanked Teddy for his time and introduced his performance segment, hoping the music would salvage the moment. But as Teddy stood to move to the stage, something unexpected happened. He shook his head, muttered something under his breath, and walked off the set. The audience gasped, and Kelly, caught off guard, tried to maintain her composure as the show cut to an impromptu commercial break. The abrupt exit of Teddy Swims from the Kelly Clarkson Show sent shockwaves through the studio and beyond. The live audience sat in stunned silence as the crew scrambled to fill the airtime. Kelly, a veteran of live television, quickly regained her composure, addressing the audience with a light-hearted comment about technical difficulties before transitioning to another segment. But the damage was done, and social media exploded with speculation about what had happened. Clips of the tense exchange began circulating online, with fans and commentators dissecting every moment of the interview. Some praised Teddy for standing up for his privacy, while others criticized him for what they saw as an overreaction. The #TeddySwimsWalksOff trended on X, with posts ranging from supportive messages to heated debates about whether Kelly had pushed too far. Meanwhile, Teddy's team issued a brief statement, saying he had felt disrespected by the line of questioning and chose to remove himself from the situation. Kelly, for her part, remained professional, avoiding direct comments about the incident and the immediate aftermath. Backstage, sources reported that the mood was tense, with producers working to manage the fallout. Teddy, who had been scheduled to perform Lose Control as part of the Song Stories special, did not return to the stage, leaving the crew to pivot to a pre-recorded performance clip. The incident was a stark contrast to Teddy's usual persona, a warm, approachable, and quick to connect with fans. His decision to walk off was seen by some as a bold statement about setting boundaries in an industry that often demands personal vulnerability. Others, however, felt that Kelly, known for her empathy and authenticity, had been unfairly caught in the crossfire. The media frenzy only grew as outlets picked up the story, with headlines like "Teddy Swims storms off Kelly Clarkson's show after heated clash" dominating entertainment news. Fans of both artists were torn, with some expressing disappointment in Teddy's exit and others applauding his courage to stand up for himself. The incident raised broader questions about the pressures celebrities face to share their personal lives and the fine line talk show hosts must walk when engaging with guests. In the days following the incident, both Teddy and Kelly faced intense scrutiny from fans and the media. Teddy took to Instagram to address the situation, posting a heartfelt message about the importance of protecting his mental health and family privacy. "I'm grateful for every opportunity, but I'm human, and I have limits," he wrote, emphasizing that his decision to leave was not about disrespecting Kelly or the show but about preserving his peace. He expressed admiration for Kelly's talent and clarified that there was no personal animosity, though he stood by his choice to walk off. The post garnered thousands of supportive comments, with fans praising his authenticity and vulnerability. However, some critics argued that Teddy could have handled the situation more professionally, perhaps addressing his discomfort off-camera rather than making a public exit. Kelly, meanwhile, remained largely silent on the matter, letting the Song Stories special air as planned on September 2nd. The episode, which had been pre-recorded, featured Teddy in a more relaxed setting, performing an acoustic version of Lose Control and discussing his musical influences. The contrast between the pre-recorded special and the live incident only fueled speculation about what had gone wrong. Entertainment outlets analyzed the clash, with some suggesting that Kelly's interviewing style, while empathetic, could sometimes feel too probing for guests who preferred to keep their personal lives private. Others pointed out that Teddy, as a relatively new celebrity, might still be navigating the pressures of public life, especially with the added responsibilities of fatherhood. The incident sparked a broader conversation about the expectations placed on artists to be open and vulnerable in interviews. Some commentators argued that talk shows thrive on personal stories, and guests like Teddy, whose music is deeply emotional, are often expected to share the experiences behind their songs. Others countered that artists should have the right to set boundaries without being judged. The debate played out across social media, with fans of both Kelly and Teddy weighing in on who was in the right. For many, the incident was a reminder of the complex dynamics between hosts, guests, and audiences in the world of daytime television. The fallout from the incident continued to ripple through the entertainment world, with both Teddy and Kelly's teams working to manage the narrative. Teddy's appearance on the song Stories special, which aired without incident, helped to shift some of the focus back to his music. The episode was well received, with critics praising the intimate setting and Teddy's powerful performance. However, the walk-off remained a topic of discussion, with some fans expressing hope that Teddy and Kelly could reconcile. Kelly, known for her graciousness, reportedly reached out to Teddy privately to clear the air, though neither party confirmed the details of their conversation. Publicly, Kelly addressed the incident indirectly during a later episode of her show, speaking about the importance of respecting guests' boundaries and acknowledging that not every conversation goes as planned. Her comments were met with applause from the audience, who appreciated her accountability. Meanwhile, Teddy continued his tour, performing to sold-out crowds and sharing glimpses of his life as a new father on social media. The incident, while dramatic, didn't seem to derail his career, as his fanbase remained loyal and his music continued to climb the charts. Industry insiders noted that the clash might even have boosted Teddy's visibility, as the controversy brought his name to a wider audience. For Kelly, the incident was a rare misstep in an otherwise stellar career as a talk show host. Her ability to connect with guests and create memorable moments had made the Kelly Clarkson Show a standout in daytime television, and most viewers agreed that the clash with Teddy was an anomaly. The incident also highlighted the challenges of live television, where unscripted moments can lead to unexpected outcomes. As the dust settled, both Teddy and Kelly moved forward, with Teddy focusing on his music and family and Kelly continuing to host her show with her signature warmth and authenticity. The song Stories special, featuring other artists like Lizzo and the Jonas Brothers, continued to air, drawing strong ratings and reminding viewers of Kelly's skill as an interviewer and performer. Looking back, the Teddy Swims walk-off incident serves as a case study in the complexities of celebrity culture and the pressures of live television. For Teddy, it was a moment of standing up for his boundaries, a decision that resonated with many fans who admired his authenticity. For Kelly, it was a reminder of the delicate balance required when navigating personal conversations with public figures. The incident didn't define either of their careers but instead highlighted their humanity, Teddy's need to protect his personal life and Kelly's genuine desire to connect with her guests. Fans of both artists continued to support them, with many expressing hope for a future collaboration to mend the rift. The broader conversation sparked by the incident about privacy, vulnerability, and the expectations placed on celebrities continued to resonate in the weeks that followed. Teddy's music, rooted in raw emotion and personal storytelling, remained a powerful draw, while Kelly's show continued to be a platform for meaningful conversations and musical performances. The clash, while shocking in the moment, ultimately faded into the background as both artists moved forward with their careers. For viewers, it was a reminder that even the most polished television moments can take unexpected turns, revealing the real, unfiltered emotions of those in the spotlight. As Teddy prepares for the next leg of his tour and Kelly continues to host her show, the incident remains a footnote in their respective journeys, a moment of tension that underscored their shared passion for music and storytelling. The story of Teddy Swims and Kelly Clarkson's heated exchange will likely be remembered as a fleeting but impactful moment in the ever-evolving world of entertainment.